Good evening everybody, welcome to another show of You'll Blink You'll Miss It. Been away for a wee while, but I done a wee introduction video yesterday to let you know what was happening. So just to get right into it, the video tonight's going to be about HMP Long Lartin in Evesham, Worcestershire. It was a category dispersal prison, and the reason I decided to do this tonight is because unfortunately I was in there 3 times, so I think I've every right I can make a comment about it, or 2 or 3 or 100. But the reason I'm actually doing it as well, because I watched a programme the other night about HMP Long Lartin. It was on Channel 5, so it sprung to my mind, why don't I do a podcast and kind of let the viewers know maybe an inside story with the way the jail function, because I listened to the programme and it never really gave you an up-to-date the running of the place, and so I was there 3 times. So let's kick off. So I'm going to kick off in 1991. I was arrested in a Chinese restaurant in May 91. I was arrested with a gun. I won't get too much into it, and I get 2.5 years, remanded to Berlin. I had a warrant outstanding for a bank robbery in Torquay, and so in July 1991 I went to Edinburgh High Court and I get 2.5 years for the possession of the gun. In September I was getting took down to England for this charge. So they took me to Saughton, and then I went to Durham, and at Durham I went down to HMP Horfield in Bristol. It was on a Friday. I always remember arriving there because I was there for the Friday to the Monday, but when I arrived there, one of my coaches was there, Michael Carroll. God bless him, rest in peace. Michael's no longer with us. Michael died, I think he died 2011, 2012, it was a while back anyway. Was going through kidney dialysis, and so Michael's a good guy. So anyway, I'm speaking to Michael in Horfield and the exercise. I got to speak to him in the exercise the Saturday and the Sunday, and Horfield's a bit of a cassie, by the way. Wasn't great. And Michael says to me, when you go to court Monday morning, he says, you're going to be surprised, Ian. And I went, what do you mean? He says, well, see, you got that gate, there's going to be 2 Range Rovers with coppers in it with machine guns, there's going to be motorcycle outriders, etc., and a helicopter all the way to Torquay. And I was going, nah, it can't be that much. So came to the Monday morning, right enough, drove out the gate. All you hear is all the rest of the sirens blaring, and the Range Rover's right enough. I wasn't wrong, know what I mean? But I was on out of this, and I didn't realise that I was a double category A. Down in England, you've got category, you've got double category, and you've got triple category. But I was just on, so I never had a clue about all this. So anyway, we get to court, gets remanded. I know it's absurd to say that, remanded, because I was already doing the 2.5 years, but I was remanded in custody for this robbery in Torquay. So I just automatically thought, this is to Michael, I'd see him when I came back. He thought I was going to come back there as well. So we're in the van and all the sirens are going, blah, 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 and helicopter, the rest of it. We're up in the motorway, I must have seen like hours and hours like that, and I was trying to shout to one of the officers or whatever they were called, where is it we're going to? Because I knew we weren't going to Bristol, you know what I mean? But I was later to find out, for years later, because I was Cat A for 8 years, that they don't tell you where you're going. Once you're in that van, it's just, you've got to look out the window and kind of a look at the motorway signs to see where you're going to. You could be up in Durham 1 month, and the next month you could be doing the bottom down in London, Belmarsh or Brixton or Scrubs, somewhere like that. So anyway, we arrived at this place. I get sick of looking at all these motorway signs. I didn't know where I was going to. So we arrived in this place and we drove in, and I could see it says HMP Long Lartin. And I went, where's this? You know what I mean? So we get into reception, and the armed coppers and that, they were all away. So prison officers had took her, got changed out my clothes, and got took to, when he was getting took over to reception, I says to him, where are we? And he went, oh, you're in HMP Long Lartin, Evesham. He says, Worcestershire. I think it was at 30 miles from Birmingham. So I was like, right, and I went, oh, I don't really want to be here. And they went, oh, you want to be here, all right. He says, this is a good jail. But I thought, I was quite comfortable that weekend I'd spent with Michael, and I was thinking I just wanted to get back there, because I'm not going to know anybody in here. But so anyway, we go to bed, packing that and over, and the screw that took me over, the prison officer, he's like, oh, you're going to E-wing, the gangster wing? And I went, the gangster wing? I went, all right. In my book, I've actually got a chapter, I've called it The Gangster Wing. This is me arriving here. So anyway, I got onto the wing, and I'm standing outside the office, waiting to get allocated to a cell. And this wee guy comes in. Found out his name was Tony. Introduced himself, and he's like to me, how long are you doing in that? And I went, 2.5 years. He looked at me all funny, 2.5 years. And because by this time I realised I was the top security, and I think I started at 4 or 5 years. I mean, people are going to be wondering how I've arrived here in 2.5 years, you know what I mean? So I get took up to the cell, Screw came out, took me up to my cell, and before that, wee Tony was like, where did you come from? And I was like, all flustered, and I'm going, I came from Berlin, I went to Stockton, I went to Durham, I was down in Bristol, then from Bristol I went to Court, then came up here, and he looked at me as if to say, aye, no bother mate, you're wrong, you know what I mean? I wasn't stupid, I was 30 years of age at the time, and I was a bit clued up, but up to that stage I'd only done 18 months, you know what I mean? I hadn't done a big sentence, done my Borstal and all that, and wee sentences. But I was pretty clued up, and I was going, he thinks I'm fucking dodgy, but that's the way it seemed. So anyway, up to the cell, and Tony comes back in, my pal wants to see you, so I went to see this guy, and this guy's sitting there. This guy looked apart and that, and he went, where'd you come from, mate? I'm trying to do a Scouser accent, I can't do it, I can't do any of the accents for all the years I spent in there. But I'm up for Glasgow, and I told him I'd been to court, and they went, you wrote your depositions? And I went, depositions? And I went, oh, the statement, so I got a file at court that day. And I went, aye, I didn't know they were called that, you know what I mean? So I went and got them, I showed them, and I explained to him that one of my other co-accused, Michael Healy, was on the run, and he'd escaped from Shotts prison, and I says, I think the authorities think that Mick's going to break us out and all that, so, and Mick had been accused of a few murders and all that up there as well, and there was all sorts of rumours flying about up in Glasgow gangland at the time, and but Michael, it's sad to say, the other Michael Healy, he's actually dead as well, you know what I mean? I was at his funeral 4 years ago, so rest in peace Michael. Michael's a legend, you know what I mean? But anyway, this guy turned out in the cell, his name was Johnny Haas. He became, I didn't know he was at the time, he was just finishing a 14-year sentence, but he ended up coming a bit of a controversial figure as well, you know what I mean? Down the years. So he's like, oh, you're all right, mate, you're all right, blah, blah, blah. I went, thank fuck for that. So back to my cell. So just to get you a wee bit of the running of Long Lartin at the time, I'm saying I didn't want to be there. Fuck. After 2 or 3 weeks, I was like, fuck's sake, this place is like fucking Butlins. I says, that Horsefield with Michael Carroll is a fucking shithole. The HMP Bristol Horsefield. That was just like Berlin, like a local jail. This Long Lartin, it was, I can only describe it, it was very relaxed. So I didn't go to work. I could up in the morning, my cell door was opened at 8 o'clock in the morning. I could go to gym in the morning, afternoon and night, 3 times a day. And then I could have a drink. Could you believe that? A drink. people were making hooch, didn't really know what hooch was at the time. But I ended up becoming an alcoholic after a few years. And that was great. As anybody knows, in jail, to have that wee escape, having a joint or a hooch or whatever, it takes you over the wall, without a doubt, you know what I mean? Because just lying there every night, because there was no TVs, like just reading a book or that, you've got to have a wee escape. So sometimes I had an escape. It wasn't once a week, it was about 3 times a week, maybe 4, if the boys of the hooch were doing well. So Long Lartin at the time. Started to get to know people, and a Friday was canteen day. That's when you get paid your wages. I think you could change your laundry and all that day. So there was no work that day. It was quite a good routine, relaxed regime. And I didn't know that. See, at that time, you can actually, I was in E-wing. In Scotland, they call it halls, but down there they call it wings. And nobody could understand me at first as well. No, I mean, I had to slow down my accent and all that, and after a while, one of my co-crews says, "Christ, you're speaking like somebody from Bearsden," which is a snobby part of Glasgow. But I had to slow down my accent, because everybody were telling me after about 6 months or a year, that after I'd been in a while, they were going in. Do you know that we were just nodding our head to you? I was in these parties having drinks, and I was smoking hash as well, by the way. And people used to just go like that. Ian, we didn't know what you were saying for the first 6 months a year. So that's how I slowed my accent down. That's how I was saying it with the Bearsden accent and that. And so as I say, the routine Friday was good. You done your laundry, you got your laundry changed in the morning, then it was canteen. And with the canteen, with a main canteen in Scotland, you could go and buy a pot noodle, tin of tuna, a Mars bar. That was it. But see, in this place, you could go to the canteen, believe it or not. I couldn't believe it. You could buy steaks, onions, every vegetable, every spice and herb, mince, Black Forest cattle and ice cream. And there was cookers there as well. Down at the bottom of each wing, there was cookers there. And everybody was allowed to cook. You could even get into the office. Listen to this, you could get into the office and there'd be a big locked cupboard. And there'd be knives in it, hammers in it, everything. And you could say to the screw or the officer, "Can I get that knife?" And he would just say, right, and he would put your cell number and your name, you get the knife out, or this hammer or whatever. And you could go to the kitchen, you could make curries, you could make steak dinners, and everything. No, I mean. So it was great, and on the landings as well, they'd freezers for all the steaks, the chickens, and the mince and everything. So I was really thinking that it was great. In the gym as well, I just got up in the morning, but to me it was great, but I had this court case looming. So that was always in the back of my mind. So the longer I was in Long Lartin, I must say, everybody was all civil and friendly, especially the London boys. No, I mean, what can you say about the guys from London? They were all civil, good mannered, all heavy characters, by the way. How you doing each morning? Wake up, you'd walk by, how you doing, Ian? And blah blah. Yeah, just treat me, this wee guy from Springburn in Glasgow, and we all these armed robbers and all these names and all that. For London, also Manchester, Liverpool, Birmingham, everywhere. No, I mean, there was foreign guys there was IRA guys, guys for Jordan, like wee Roseanne, who I got to know. He was doing 24 years. He tried to kill somebody outside an embassy in London. People from Baghdad, Iraq, Italy, all over. So, also, forgot to tell you on a Friday after I'd been in a few weeks, it was that relaxed. See when you're going for your canteen and things like that, you could actually go to another wing, chat the door, and the officer would let you in. They would never do that these days. So you could get in, and there was guys making hooch. It was like a wee business, and you could get in and get these 2 litre bottles of hooch to drink. But you could say to them a few days before it, you'd put an order in. So you put an order in on a Monday. I went to three bottles of hooch, 2 litres of hooch, or 4 bottles or whatever, which is quite a lot, because this stuff was powerful, you know what I mean? So you could put an order in on the Monday and you go and collect it on the Friday. And also, there was Indian guys and all that, they would be making curries. But see, when you were in there, they could go to the canteen, they could order the trays. See, you go to a Chinese or an Indian, and you get the trays and they put the dinner and all that in. When you went there, and you could order chicken boona, lamb, whatever. It was all takeaway, but it was it inside. That was the only thing. So you could go on a Friday, after you dropped your laundry off and collected it, go to your canteen, and if I'm right in thinking, you get paid your canteen, you actually paid you with pound coins. So you could go to the thing when you pay the Indian guy there, you go for my curry, you go to the other guy for the drink. So you'd get all this drink and curries and you take it back to the wing. Then you'd have your party later that night. Most of the parties started, you were banged up from 5 to 6. And you come out at 6, you were up to 9 o'clock. You could right round to your pals and you'd have a wee party, you'd have a drink. But see, when I had the curry and that, me and the boys, we would split the curry up. And you'd have that for 9 o'clock for getting banged up. And if you were lucky and if you knew the right people as well, but you didn't need to know the right people, you could have a wee joint as well for when you get banged up. So this was great. When I first arrived there was people in the wing. There was a guy, John Reid, from London. He was very respected and all. And I just learnt there a couple of years ago. He's now in doing 28 years, unfortunately, you know what I mean? And his co-accused arrived the same day I arrived in Long Lartin. His name was Peter Mitchell, because this wee Tory I was talking about for Liverpool, he's kind of looking for 2.5 years. And they were all getting me mixed up, because that day Peter Mitchell, who was John Reid's co-accused, if anybody knows them down there, that they'll know who I'm talking about, Peter had just arrived for Gartree. And I think he was doing 22 years. So they went, no, you'd, and I went, no, mate, where's Gartree? I was just like that. So anyway, there was a lot of influential figures there. But as I say, I get treated with utmost respect and dignity and all that with the prisoners. And I must say, the prison officers were okay as well. It was a relaxed regime. So I started going to the gym. And I started to learn that there was badminton and there was this soft tennis. A lot of people were into this soft tennis. And I started learning it. But see when I started going in the first few weeks, see playing that badminton, that soft tennis, like, oh. I couldn't even put it over the net. But as I'll tell you in some of my stories when I get later down the line, after 5 years, I was a Scottish internationalist. I was like, next. And but then I couldn't even put it over the thing with the net. So it was good. So I met another guy there as well. Just at that first time, 91 going into 92. I'm still there. Billy Whitfield. He's no longer with us as well, know what I mean? But Billy was originally from Scotland, but he moved to Manchester years ago. And he was doing 6 years, and I was on E-Wing, he was there as well. I teamed up with him, and everybody in the wing called him Billy the Fish. Billy used to make the hooch, and he used to make a damn fair good bottle. Get you steaming about 2 glasses. So, me and Billy would sit, and there was one of the IRA there at the time, Joe O'Connell. How you doing, Joe? For the Balkan Street Smell. I was to meet Joe many years later in Full Sitting with some of his comrades. Eddie Butler and Shuey Docherty, whose brother Pat Docherty was the vice president of Sinn Féin. So this mob were kind of a heavy mob, but gentlemen, I know you might think that's a bit strange saying that, but they were not, I mean, they were proper guys. They were the old school, no? I mean, they were the ones that done it for the right reasons. A lot of the younger ones that was selling drugs and all that, they were there, no? I mean, so you remember, I didn't know nothing about all the history about that, but the potato famine, but I got to know. So I'd sat with Joe on that as well. Joe was right down to earth. Joe used to just do his time and he got running and all of that. And at the time, people were saying, he never says, Joe's never to get out again. And I used to go, poor cunt and all that. I'd be sitting there, me and Billy the Fish and that, and having a drink. And, but there was a good ending. He did get out. But she was good. And I hope if he's over in Donegal now and he's watching this, are you doing, Joe and Kathleen? Hope you're doing well. And so anyway, getting into 92 and that, so I was getting plenty of visits and all that as well, you know what I mean? So after I'd been in about 4 or 5 months, my brother Gary came down. He was always coming down to see me. And Gary came down with this lassie and that, came into the visit on a Saturday. And he used to always bring down a bit of hash. So when I was going over this time for this visit and that, my mother pal, another good pal of mine's, Satty boy, you were up in Glasgow there a few months ago. He was a lifer, he came from Birmingham, and Satty, he was one of my pals. We got on like a house on fire, and he used to come round to sell, we'd have a joint and a wee drink and all that as well. So I says to Satty this day, I says, I'm getting the visit. Says, Gary's coming down. It was a Saturday I went. So we've been blowing my brains out for the next week, mate. And it was that soft Rocky at the time. No other stuff they smoke now, the green and all that. It was this Rocky and all that, and the soft black. So Satty and us, we were all looking forward to this. And just fix this camera there. It just fell down a wee bit. Drinking some water tonight. Saturday, but I've learned to curtail my drinking and etc. So anyway, Gary came down this Saturday, and I forgot to tell you, see the visits were right relaxed, knowing these days. You could go to Lartin at this time, 91, 92. People would be bringing in, well, your visitors like Gary, bringing in a half bottle of vodka. And you'd be sitting there and drinking away. And so this day Gary came down. The visits were 2 o'clock to 4. And Gary brought in the standard half bottle of vodka and introduced me to this girl that he brought in. This girl came from Proven Mill herself, you know what I mean? And I'm trying to say it, I might say her name in a minute. No, she's a good guy. Well, she's Brenda Boris. How you doing, Brenda? Hope you're well, you and Big Eric. Good Celtic supporters, by the way. You know, I'm Rangers, I don't discriminate. If anybody can sit with IRA and have a drink and all the rest of it, well, it's not a problem. You know what I mean? I'm not bitter. So Gary came down with Brenda this weekend and gave me a half bottle of vodka. So it came about 3 o'clock and I'm even fucking grading it. I says to Gary, have you any men of that? And I went, aye. So he went to the screw, he came back out, I need you out the car. But he came back in and I think they got on him and searched him and they got this half bottle of vodka. So I'm sitting with Brenda to the end of the visit. But I went up to the visit just half an hour before it finished and I went, what's happening with my brother? And I went, oh, I don't know what you're talking about. So I'm sitting with Brenda chatting away. I don't know, just 5 minutes before it. And they went, oh, your brother's been caught trying to bring a half bottle of Smirnoff into the prison. And I looked at them and I went, because I knew that's what happened anyway at the time. But the rule was supposed to be, if anybody get caught with drink, they would just take it off them. Maybe they'll let them in to visit, but that would be it. So that screw went like that to me, or the prison officer, they went, yeah, we've phoned the police. I went, you've phoned the police for a whole bottle of Smirnoff? You're in a top security nick, mate. You're in here with fucking armed robbers, the IRA, fucking murderers. Fuck knows what. Serial killers. I mean, Archibald Hall, he ended up in there as well, and a few other people. So I says, you're having a laugh. So anyway, end of the visit, I went back to the hall of the wing. Says to everybody, and everybody went, no, we've had enough. There was a big guy there, Stan Thompson, off of London. How you doing, Stan? Still about? His co-accused was Peter Pasito. I used to play with Peter many a game of badminton and all that. And I think Peter ended up beating me. You know what I mean? We had a challenge for about 12 weeks. But it was close, Peter, wasn't it? It was close. Peter from Essex. And before I forget, it's another guy, Big Mickey Gillette from Preston. How you doing, Mickey boy? Met you at Blackpool a few years ago. Walking through the pleasure beach and he shouted me. I went, for fuck's sake, Mick, how you doing? Mick was the gym pass man in Long Lartin. He was doing 12 years. Mickey was a good guy as well. I've got to admit as well, Mickey beat me at the badminton as well. He's always saying, fuck, you must have been shite at this badminton. Before I forget, he'll not live it down. John Lynn used to beat me as well up at Franklin. Okay, John, there you go, shout out. For you and Sadie and young John, good people for Glasgow. So, Ian, you're starting to veer away in these stories, but I'm just get back to this again. And it is supposed to be about HMP Long Lartin because of the programme the other night. So, we're into the visit, but Gary. So everybody went down to the office the Saturday, boys for the IRA, London. You don't get his fucking brother, what are you doing? He's in the fucking jail. A half bottle of vodka. This is a top security nick, for Christ's sake. So, the screws were like, we'll get it sorted. So Gary ended up being at the police station. They did take him to the police station, fuck, for this half bottle of vodka. And we want him in tomorrow morning as well. So he says, well, his brother will get in tomorrow morning. So Gary came up on the Sunday morning. I went, for fuck's sake, you should have passed that hash to me right away on the Saturday. Give me a... So he gave me a cheek tip. You know what I mean? As people know what cheeking is. And back to the hall, Saturday, and everybody else was all happy. We all smoked our lungs to content, you know what I mean? I think it was announced that the Rocky, the soft Rocky, you know the one you just on the joint. Nowadays that green stuff's too heavy. So anyway, that was us. So maybe just try to give a few hints how the jail was running, all of that. And also in 92, me and Billy the Fish, we get steaming. Can you believe that they actually brought Jasper Carrot? Do you know Jasper Carrot, the comedian from Birmingham? He actually came into the jail and he done a concert. Me and Billy, we were steaming the time we got to the concert. No, I mean, we were sitting. I think it was in the visit room, they put all the chairs out and all that. And we were heckling them and all that, shouting your shit and all that. But it broke up the time, it was good. So, moving on, I was there for September 91 to October. My first trial was coming up for Bristol in Horfield for this robbery. So I get took, so that was me there. That was me just there over a year. And I can't fault the jail, it was a good nick. I know other people have said in the programme, it was hellish, blah, 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 but I'll come to all that later. You know what I mean? I'm just getting it from my perspective. You know what I mean? And I'm no a lover of prison officers or whatever, but there is always good and bad everywhere. I'm just saying the way I was there, it was like Butlins, you know what I mean? I hadn't been in the seg then, but that's to come later and I'll explain. So anyway, I get took down to Bristol and Mick Keeley, I forgot to say Mick Mick Healy had come in, as I say. Mick's no longer with us, same as Michael Carroll, God rest him. And so me and Mick were in Long Lartin. We went down to Bristol. We were there for 6 weeks. So I'm not getting into too much trial. But on for 6 weeks. We were all trying to allegedly get a gun smuggled in the court. It was just a farce. But if anybody wants to read about all of this is in my book as well. Plug. Well, the book's been out for 10 years. And I mentioned what happened down at Bristol about the gun plot and blah, 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 blah. So I'm not getting into it here, because this is with HMP Lartin. So, from Long Lartin to Bristol, to 6 weeks down there. I must say, when I was in Bristol, wee guy, Toe Elliott, came down for the special unit. Toe's no longer with us either, but I found Toe brand new. He came down, his wife Ruth, he got married in the special unit, and his wife Ruth, she'd a brain hemorrhage or something, so she stayed in the Bristol area or Gloucestershire, whatever. So he was down there for a few weeks, and Toe was brand new. I got on with him well. I squared them up and that, and he went, hey, see, we go back to the special unit, I'm going to send you a few quid and that. I went, no, I don't. So when he went back, got to give you guys due, he sent me £100 in for the special unit in Glasgow to Bristol or Long Lartin, where I ended up getting back to. So that was good. No, I mean, another guy who was very well known in Glasgow, no longer with us. So after the commotions and all of that at Bristol, me and Mick went back to Long Lartin. Big Robert Harper, other co-accused. How you doing, Robert? Robert went to the Wormwood Scrubs. He got his cunt battered in. There was screws. He got put in the segregation there. There was screws there at the time. They were animals. They were bastards. They were kicking every cunt's cunt in. And there was even rumours that they'd actually done somebody in the Scrubs. I think Rab ended up getting a £22,000 compensation payout because there was about 6 or 5 prison officers, if I'm right. They ended up getting done with assaulting prisoners and all of that. Because it had been going on for years, you know what I mean, in the Scrubs. And Rab, he went there, and Sam Carrigan, I don't know. I think Tam went back to Belmarsh with the unit within a unit in Belmarsh, and James Healy, I think, came back to Brixton, you know what I mean? So the trial was just a complete fuck up, and so I'm back to Long Lartin. So me and Mick's back there for October, November, I think it was, back November 1992. So we were there, and in Long Lartin to then it was just partying as normal. But while we were back there, me and Mick, we'd been drinking this night in Long Lartin, and to explain to you, in Long Lartin there wasn't toilets in the cell. It was this night sanitation. You pressed your bell and you were laid out for a few minutes. But me and Mick had been drinking this Friday. When were you no drinking? and Mick, all of a sudden, I was in the night san, and Mick, he'd done this magnetic fucking thing on it. Before you know it, Mick was out as well. You were only allowed one out at a time. So me and Mick were running up and down the landings, and there was another big guy there, Steve Davis. If you're listening, Steve, how you doing? Sorry for coming to your door and waking me up that night. Me and Mick were down at his door and we're shouting, Steve, and all that. And Stan Thompson was there. Stan's a good guy. Stan had broke out of Brixton before the unit with an IRA guy way back. And he was Peter Persito's co-accused. So Stan was there, we're up at his door. So we're running up and doing mental. And that was a Friday night, and the Screws in Long Lartin, I think they were on the social club, and they all came in, and we get told over the loudspeaker, right, if you don't get back into your cell, we're coming in with the mufti, with the shields and all that. So we were like, fuck yous and all that. End up, they did come in, we ran back into our cells, and that was it. And we get took down to the solitary, couple of days, get let back in the wing. But while I was there as well, I'd like to say I met another good guy there at that time. who became a good friend. I'd met him a few times after it in the full sitting and that. Big Alan Byrne. How you doing, Alan? I believe Alan's in Strangeways. I was up seeing him in Franklin a few years ago. But Alan actually escaped and all that. It was an injustice. Alan was doing 20 years and Michael Howard came into power, gave Alan another 10 years on his sentence. A diabolical liberty. Now the guy's at Parkinson. He was on the run 12 years, came back, and guess what they put him back into? HMP Franklin. But I met Alan there, and Alan was great and all, and Alan used to say to me, do you know something, he says, I'm actually Scottish. He says, I was born in Glasgow, up at Rob Royston. I think he moved when he was about a year old, even. And so me and Alan struck up a good friendship. And it's just a liberty what's happened to the guy just now. He should have been released, you know what I mean? Because he's escaped, they've made a big thing of it. But Alan only escaped because he was willing to do the 20 years. Not the other 10 years, Mr. Howard, you put on him. Who did you think you were? A fucking judge? That you could just have added 10 years to Alan's sentence? Oh, he's not doing enough to do that. So anyway, enough of that. But hope Alan's well. You know what I mean? As well as can be. So, for there, my 2.5 years was coming to an end in March 1992. So, I'd been in Long Lartin for December 91. No, I've got the dates wrong there. I'd been in Long Lartin for September 1991, moved to Bristol in October 92, 6 weeks, back to Long Lartin November, and I moved to HMP Brixton, shithouse, in March 93 when the 2.5 years came to an end. Water, in on the new path. So, down to Brixton, shithole. It was the unit that was in there. James Haley was in there. I said, this is a fucking shithole. I was telling James all about Long Lartin. I went, I could eat and cook and go to the gym. And I said, it was like Butlins, mate. Hundreds of great people. So anyway, I went for there. Then I went to... ended up being fruity there. I ended up having a fucking rammy, you know what I mean? So they moved me out and they took me to HMP Wormwood Scrubs in May. I only ended up 2 months in Brixton, if I'm right. They moved me there in May and to Wormwood Scrubs, and that's when I met Florida Phil. Florida Phil's a character. He'd stole over £1 million of Scoodles. He worked at Heathrow Airport, and I met another couple of guys from Manchester, Big Mal and Big Wes. How's doing, lads? One's a City fan and one's a United fan, and while we were there, United won the league. May 1993 for the first time in years through Alex Ferguson. So Mal was the two buzzing, but Big Wes was ecstatic. So I met the two, and I've got to say, they became two good friends because we get talking all the time, and they says to us, when we go to court, if we get away with it, if you get away with it, to each other's phone numbers and that, we'll get in touch, blah, 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 blah. I says, I don't think I'm going to get out. So anyway, they two got out, and I'm glad to say, to this day, 30 years later, 1993 to 2023, I'm still in touch with the two guys, two cracking guys, you know what I mean? Mal knows his pals Wee Bernie Summers and all that, the wee singer, and Big Wes. I was talking to him the other week, and I happened to just mention this boy. I think his nephew's Bugsy Malone, the rapper. I was like, oh, that guy's kind of well known as well. But Big Wes, cracking big guy, you know what I mean? He came from Moss Side, and I think Mal, I think it was at Burnage. I think he knew Liam Gallagher, Noel Gallagher and all that. Well, I don't know if he knew him, but they all can run about for that area. So anyway, I went to the Old Bailey in July 93, had a trial to August, 5-week trial. And you know, I get sentenced 16 years. And Mal and Wes, they kept in touch. I'm still in touch to this day, as I've said. So anyway, I went to Phil Sutton, but this story's not about Phil Sutton or about Brixton or Runwood Scrubs or anywhere else. It's about HMP Long Lartin. So I ended up in HMP Phil Sutton for 3 years, where I met my good pal Daisy Cunningham, of course. No, I mean, big shout out to the Cunningham family and Wee Noodles down there in London. All good people, all good family, you know what I mean? It's tragic what happened to Daisy as well. Still never got over that. But we'll get into that in another episode. I've already done a wee tribute to Daisy before I'd packed in the YouTube channel, get back to it. But so I ended up back, I left HMP Phil Sutton in May, June 96. I'd been in there 3 years, and I get transferred up to HMP Franklin. And guess who was in the van with me? Another good friend of mine's. He was really good pals of mine's in HMP Phil Sutton. The only one in Warren Slaney. I've heard wee Yami B speak about him in good terms, and me and Warren were really good friends. I need to do a wee episode about Warren, because Warren's innocent. He get caught up in this hamburger war thing in Leicester. Warren's a really good guy, still in just now, over 30 years, can't believe it. But Warren is a good guy. I mean, there was some good times, and I'll need to tell you about me and Warren someday, but that's for another day. So I went to Franklin's, and I was only up there, and Michael Carroll was there, and James Healy, and I put in the same wing, and Warren was in a different wing, and Warren's like, I can't be in the same wing as you. So I got Warren on the same wing, and me and Warren, we'll tell you a story later, we're crazy, and but good times. So they came for me in HMP Franklin's. I was only up there for, it was June 93 to October, and came to my cell at tea time, right, Ian, you're going to the segregation unit. I went, I'm going to say, I says, I haven't even done nothing. They went, oh, everything will be explained. So they took me over and they went, listen, you get moved in the morning. It's came from the Cat A board, dispersal, whatever, category section, you're getting moved, it will all be explained. So I get moved back to, where did I go to? HMP Long Lartin. And as soon as I arrived there, Billy the Fish, he was still there. Billy was coming to the end of his sentence, and arrived there on the Tuesday or something. Yeah, this was 96, October, November, and bumped into another good pal of mine's, Big Perry Worry. How you doing, Perry? Heard you're out. One of the best guys that's ever come out of London. Him and Desi, of course. And so we got to HMP Long Lartin on the wing. I've got my Rangers tote and all that, shorts and all that. And this is a guy who wore a Rangers tote into the IRA cell. But they always say the IRA does not discriminate against Rangers or Celtic. As one of my other good pals, Pat Martin, will explain when he wore the top. That's been already explained, might come back up again. How you doing, Pat? Hope you're all well. Belfast. So, Perry and Billy the Fish went, listen, we're going to have a party for you on Friday. Billy had made the hooch as usual, and Perry says, I'm going to get a bit of hash at the visit, blah, 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 blah. So we get back and had the party. I think I've already went into it in a wee story, but just getting into it just a wee bit. You get dry telling these stories. So anyway, Perry and Billy arranged the party. Perry was into hash, Billy the hooch. So we're in this party, and this guy came into the cell. You got any hooch? Blah, 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 blah. Billy's like, no, I've not got a lot in that. So the guy got a bit cheeky, and I'll not even get it. I just says, look mate, nobody wants you in here, get out. And I went, what? I says, get out. And I just stood up, a wee guy from Springburn, Glasgow, and I went, you're a cruiser, and just shut the door. I didn't even know what a cruiser was. I was just saying you're cruising for boozing, but you're getting fuck all. It's ours. So Perry and Billy's like, oh, that's this fucking guy. He thinks he's a ticket man. I went, fuck him, you know what I mean? So before you know it, 5 to 9 arrived, door gets through open, it's this guy, he comes in with his gal. Who the fuck are you? He's trying to go for me. Me, Perry and Billy jumped up. Anyways, we were in the bottom landing. There was this big fight ended up in the bottom landing, Long Lartin. And we were fucking smashing fuck each other. I'm running, I'm using these jam jars, you know, for the drink. And I'm smashing them with these cunt seeds and all that. And before you know it, and I've slipped in the booze, I've kicked in the air, my foot my arm was broke, and the alarm was going off, and it was pandemonium. And all the screws were all run through the wings as they do. I get pulled into this cell, and I says to these guys, I think my arm's broken. The guy went, no, you've dislocated it. It was the left one. I went, what the fuck's dislocated? So anyway, they took everybody, there was about 5, 6 people, and there was a line of screws from the wing all the way up the corridors up to the surgery. So I was the last one out. They came into the cell and they went, right, come on MacDonald, we know you're involved as well. But I had my Rangers talk on. And I walked out like that, dislocated hip, left shoulder. And as I was walking up, all the screws were going, for fuck's sake, that was some fight, that. No, I mean, that's 6 of them that's come up. And the rest of them were going up with fucking bust heads, fucking teeth out, and I'm going up with my arm, and they're no bust noses and fuck knows what. So it was a good fight, as we say in Glasgow. It wasn't too bad. There was none of that getting pulled out. No, I mean, just a few jam jars, getting our cunt seeds. I was steaming, I was the hash. So I got up to the surgery, and there was 3 of us and 3 of them. It was me, Billy, and Perry. And the next minute, they've been seen here. They get taken into the block, or the solitary. And they were like to me, they went, oh, fuck, we want to go to the social club, how could you not picked another fucking night, a Friday night, they don't want to go and have a drink. And I was like, oh, fuck you. So the PO's like, we are cutting, I says, yeah, you're not cutting my fucking Rangers throat. You know what I mean? And he's like, but they were alright. So the doctor came in and all that, and I think they were all kind of whispering to the doctor going, oh, just can you know this, can you just pull his arm in and all that? I'm going, you're pulling fuck all in. I says, I'm wanting the NHS treatment like everybody else gets, know what I mean? And so I heard the doctor going like that, no, he needs to be outside. So cut a long story short, we waited a couple of hours, and they took me out in the Long Lartin. By this time, it was 12 o'clock or something. And it's out in the van, and it's with Range Rovers again. I went, what the fuck's this, know what I mean? All the way with these armed coppers. Got to, I think it was Redditch Hospital. And I get out, and to tell you the truth, see if I wanted to escape, I went there, it was fucking agony, even though I had to drink the hash and all that. And to tell you the truth, I still had a bit of hash, I had it cheeked. So, got the van, and all these coppers were on with baseball caps and machine guns, and I'm going, fuck Ian for Springburn again. Oh, it's no merited. So, we ended up, took me in there, screw handcuffed to me, and they pulled my arm in, before you know it, get back in the van, away back to Long Lartin. They put me in the solitary, so I'm in this cell. I never get back to about 2 in the morning or something, and I got my hash out, and I couldn't make a joint because my arm had a sling and all that on it. So the guy next door, I'm talking away to him, I'm sure it was Johnny Bowden. How you doing, John? John was a legend, could fix this. Ashley, I'm trying to get this back on track. The wee things just fail. But because I've not got the production with Olivia and that. Could you fix this, Ashley? And sorry about that, but you know, it's unscripted, unedited. I'll not be taking any of this out. But the thing just fell. I've got it sitting on a book cover and all of that. Ashley's just come in there laughing. Wait, are you laughing again, Ashley? Could you fix this for me, so please? Could you tell me how many minutes? No, we know how many minutes that's myself. Jeez, is that 50 minutes? It was only supposed to be 30 minutes. I've not even stopped it. I think fell on Lartin. So anyway, thank you for that, Ashley. Co-production. That's it. Wait, I better get into this story quick. Know what I mean? I better make sure this is decoded, but you know, it's not unscripted, the blink and you miss it. I think that's what makes it better, isn't it? See the others edge. Christ. Can you believe that's it went again? Know what I mean? No wonder Ashley's laughing there. We're not in a professional studio, know what I mean? I've got my wee phone, there's a tea on or something. Do you put a wee bit of weight on that, Ashley? We're trying to get the river view in that in. So, sorry about that. This won't be edited out, because I don't know how to edit it. So anyway, I didn't really realise that was all that time there. So, I was talking about being back. So this wee guy, he threw a liner, made me a couple of joints. I was like, good. So the next minute, could you just bring it over a little bit? We've not got the best